welcome back to another episode of Evolving Through Experience, where we discussing growth in every aspect, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and beyond. Yo, today, guys, we have a special guest, another special guest. Obviously, I know I've been having a vegan run, but my new guest is not vegan.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. We got Ash Cash, bro. How you
All
feeling,
right.
man?
I'm doing well, brother. Thank you for having me.
Nah,
man.
appreciate
Nah,
you.
I've been on that journey though. Like I've been double dutching the vegan life. You know what I'm trying to say? So
nah, no
soon.
double dutch. Just get on this side and stay.
I mean, it's
you.
it's a process, right? Being vegan is greatness. Greatness is a process. So let me be great. You know what I'm trying to say?
Facts. I got you. So, man, today, obviously, bro, the name speak for itself, but
Yeah.
I want to have you on, honestly, just talk about your processes and your experiences in life that got you to who you are today, but
Yeah.
ultimately who you're going to be tomorrow and the day after that. So, evolving through experience, I want to start with your childhood. Like, I want to go into that because obviously we all know childhood plays a pivotal part in all our lives, whether male, woman, female, doesn't matter. So I want to start with your childhood experiences.
I'm an '80s baby, master of economics. You know what I mean? It's weird because I hear people born in the '70s say they '80s babies.
They was
So
born in
technically,
79?
yeah. I mean,
okay.
but I mean, I hope say yeah, '80s baby. He born '69. So I don't know how he's an '80s baby, but I guess you got it's when
Shout out
you
to
grew
Hov.
up. So technically, I grew up in the '90s, right? So I'm a '90s baby, right?
All right.
But I grew up. I'm from Harlem. You know, born and raised, home of the hustlers, St. Nicholas Projects. You know what I mean? My childhood, man, it's crazy because my dad wasn't around, so I grew up, in a single parent home. I'm the youngest of three, and so my mom raised, three of us by herself. At an early age, though, I've always been a hustler, though. So at an early age, so my parents are from Haiti. So my mom was a Haitian immigrant, really didn't know she spoke English, but she didn't really know the English language like that.
Yeah.
And so majority of what she did to make ends meet was like factory jobs, sewing. She was a seamstress, so she sewed, but she wasn't really making enough money.
Yeah.
And because of the language barrier, she didn't really understand the welfare system. So we didn't have food stamps and none of that stuff until my sister and I got old enough to be like, yo, we qualify for the, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, we live below the poverty line and we qualify.
For it.
And so we was the ones that kind of pushed that once we got of age. But so for a long time, like we just lived below the poverty line. And I was forced to be an entrepreneur. So at 8 years old, I was packing bags at the local supermarket. From like 11 to like 15, I graduated to selling T-shirts and mixtapes on 125th Street. So I always had this entrepreneurship spirit. Obviously because I grew up in the 90s where mass incarceration kind of disseminated our whole community. And so all of the OGs that I kind of grew up under wound up getting arrested and going to jail and things of that nature. So the 90s was wild. It was like the wild, wild west where you got young cats, selling drugs, getting money. We don't have guidance, so we breaking all types of rules that were put in place. So even though it was negative, so I'm not glorifying drug dealing and none of that stuff.
The reality though.
It's a reality, and there was structure. You know what I'm saying? So there was respect to the elders. There was respect for civilians and those in the game. Like there was rules to the game. You know what I'm saying? It was a code. But then when mass incarceration happened, that code just kind of like got decimated. So, I'm just a product of trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like no father figure. Being raised by the streets. In the hood, we live in dog years. So by the time I'm 17, I've seen dead bodies. I'm sexually active. I was 11 years old when I was sexually active. Like when I broke your virginity, like, you know what I'm saying? And I used to stay out till like 3 a.m. at like 9, 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy because I'm a parent now. I got
we gonna get into that.
I got a 15-year-old and a 9-year-old. And it's crazy how I look at the stuff that I was doing and the maturity level that I was at, like, because my son is 9, and I'm looking at the stuff that I was doing at 9 and looking at him, and all praises due to God. Thank God that he's able to be a kid. Because the way I was, the way I and all my friends were living, it can't be life. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. So, and with that, I want to stay in the childhood for a minute. So doubling back, obviously, was it when you was born, your father was already gone, or was it a transition period between you and your brothers?
It's crazy because I don't know if my mom was supposed to tell me all of this, but my
Mhm.
mom would always remind me,
Mhm.
like, yo, you know your dad wanted you to abort it, right? So well so
Mm.
my brother is about 8 years older than us or whatever.
Mhm.
And he's actually the product of like we don't have the same dad. My sister and I, we're 2 years apart. We had the
Mhm.
same dad. And so legend has it, this my mom was telling me that when she got pregnant, she got pregnant with my sister,
Mhm.
and he really didn't want to have kids.
Mhm.
And so he got pregnant with my sister and didn't want my mother to have the
Mhm.
child, but my mother had the child anyway. Got pregnant again, and my dad was like, no more kids, so you
Mhm.
got to get an abortion.
Yeah.
And then my mom wound up getting an abortion in 79, I want to say.
Mhm.
And then in 80 got pregnant again
Mhm.
with me.
Mhm.
And my dad was like, no, we're not having no
Mhm.
more kids, you're having
Yeah.
an abortion. And so my mom said, no,
No.
I'm not having an abortion, and wound up having me.
Mhm.
And because my mom defied his authority, if you
Mhm.
will, he left.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And so he left before I was born,
Mhm.
came back to my life. I guess when I was 2 years old,
Mhm.
he came back into my life. And so I knew my dad from ages 2 to like 6,
Yeah.
right? So like
4
in 8,
years.
yeah. So
Mhm.
like like from 2 to 6, he was in the household. There was abuse, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So like I remember, seeing my mom. My mom was feisty though. So
Mhm.
even though that there was a struggle,
Mhm.
I did see abuse in the house, as a young. I remember it too.
Mhm.
And so he wound up leaving the household, when I was about 6, maybe
Yeah.
7. Um, and actually, that's when we wound up moving to the projects,
Mhm.
because we was living in like in a tenement building at that
Mhm.
time. And then we wound up moving to the projects. And then my dad, didn't. I still knew him though,
Yeah.
so like,
You would see him around or
yeah, I
whatever.
would still see him, and
Okay.
we built a
Yeah.
relationship. But he wouldn't be in the household with
Yeah.
us at all. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Oddly enough, and this is like a funny turn of events. My
Mhm.
dad lives with me now,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
so, as I got older,
Yeah.
I really was, from a perspective,
Yeah.
from looking at the perspective, I was actually happy that he wasn't in my life,
Mhm.
because I'm so proud of who I became.
Without
And
him.
so
Yeah.
I held anger for him for a long time, so much so that I was for a long time getting in a lot of
Yeah.
trouble, right? So I
Yeah.
got kicked out of school 4 times.
Yeah.
I got kicked out of school in the first grade,
Yeah.
which is another
First
crazy
grade.
thing,
Yeah.
right?
First
I'm
grade.
6
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on in your
Mhm.
life at 6 years old that you fighting and you getting kicked out?
Yeah.
Well, if I just told you, my dad left at 6, right?
Yeah.
So that connection, that anger was
Yeah.
there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Got kicked out in the 5th grade, got kicked out in the 9th grade, or suspended, kicked
Mhm.
out of school, had to go to a different school. 5th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, I got expelled.
Yeah.
Had to do that all over. But and I really believe that there was like pent up
Yeah.
aggression that was
Nah,
in
for
there,
sure.
that I was trying to deal with. But
Mhm.
yeah, so I had to lean on
Mhm.
the streets. I had
Yeah.
to lean on my understanding to try to get figure out,
The
navigate
next
the
level,
world.
the
Yeah.
next step. So with that, even doubling back, 'cause I know you said, and I think it's fortunate and unfortunate the same and within the same time. And I don't think your mom's meant anything out of malice when she said it. But what psychologically, what do you feel like at that immediate moment when she's telling you at this young age that is you saying if she especially if she told you it repeatedly that your father wanted you aborted, like
Yeah.
what was that? Because that's one part of it too, and that's enough that's pent up in there too. Eventually, when he do come back and then he leaves again at 6. What from that standpoint alone would you say like that psychological standpoint had on you? Because it may be another person out there right now, or a father or a mother, vice versa, saying the other parent left or they wanted you aborted. Like, what was that process for you?
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, it was I struggle with self-worth a lot
Mm,
growing up. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
Because for me, I'm like, yo, why wouldn't my dad want me? Why my
mm-hmm.
dad wanted me dead? Like he
Yeah,
didn't even want
yeah,
me to exist.
yeah.
And so I held on to that for a long time. And so I struggle with self-worth. I struggle
Mm-hmm,
with um this sense of belonging, this sense of I didn't trust anybody, right? Because if my dad don't want me, then everybody's shiesty. Everybody, don't care about me, right? So that's where that anger came from. I wasn't really the best, the best friend, if you will. Not because I did anything wrong. It was just because I never really allowed anybody get close. Because I'm like, nah, my dad don't want me. Then no, you know what I'm saying? And so from a friendship perspective, I ran with a crew, but I never wanted to be part of nothing. Because I'm like, nah, I want to, you know what I mean? Travel light, travel far. You know what I'm saying? With women also, you know what I'm saying? For a long time, I would self-sabotage relationships. I would be in relationships and everything would be going good. And in the moment I started getting emotional or get feelings, I do something to sabotage it. Nah, we're not doing this. You know what I'm saying? And so, it did, I think psychologically, I mean, to be honest, I won't even act as if it fully has gone away. You know what I'm saying? Some of those things I still have though. I'm still guarded. I'm still extra, I still look at people and I'm like, yo, what's your intention? Or, you know what I'm saying? I still, don't let people get too close. And even if somebody shows me with their words and their actions that they down for me, that, in the back of my mind, I have this thought yo, it's just a matter of time. You just, it's just convenient for you for now, but when it gets inconvenient, you know what I'm saying? So I still, kind of battle with some of those things right now. And honestly, the negative or positive side of that is once I realized that I battled with it, I started giving people the benefit of the doubt, right? And so, because all I know is violence, you know what I'm saying? So I used to fight a lot, and so I got to a space where if somebody did something to me, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take, you know what I'm saying? We gonna handle it with violence. I only damn respect. As I got older, though, I realized I can't do that no more, right?
When did that transition happen right there, though, where you was like, all right, I can't do this? When did you evolve to that point of understanding?
Man, when I became an adult, I want to say maybe probably 17, 18 years old, where I'm like, nah, I could get charged as an adult now. You know what I'm saying?
You gonna be on Rikers.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing about it, I mean, unfortunately, we knew that though. You know what I'm saying? Yo, bro, if I do this, I'm going to Spofford, you know what I'm saying? Charges of juvie, whatever. We good. You know what I'm saying? It's the hood. Like Spofford in the hood is what's the difference? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, nah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But then when you start, yo, you're gonna be charged as you know what I'm saying, as an adult, you like, wait, you got lifers up there. You know what I'm trying to say? You start thinking, and unfortunately in the hood, that mentality of jail culture is we wear that that's nothing. I got it. It's normalized. You know what I'm saying? And so as I became an adult, and now dudes is coming home, and you hearing these stories, and you like, nah. I'm good on all that. So now it's yo, I can't respond in violence because I'm not trying to get sent up nowhere, and I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to wash no socks. You know what I'm trying to say? And so at the end of the day, I think that's what made me get to the space where I'm like, all right, let me fly the right way. I started working actually early, at 17, which I was about to sell drugs, honestly. But my sister, helped me. She got me a job at Blockbuster Videos. Rest in peace, Blockbuster. But she was you know what I'm saying? So she was able to kind of get me, in the working world. And then around that time is when I started saying, all right, I can't respond in violence. But what that wound up doing is I started now giving people the benefit of the doubt. And that has gotten me taken advantage of on so many levels, right? I've been taken advantage of because my spider senses, is
damn.
What being said, my spider senses are tingling, right? Nah, it wasn't necessarily down. I knew, I'm like, nah, homie don't feel right, or she don't feel right. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt
till it's too late.
And then now I wind up getting in a space where they have taken advantage of me. And so now I'm just in a space where it's just about balance. No new friends though. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, applications closed. You know what I'm saying?
Application closed.
I'm cool, but I do watch character though. You know what I'm saying? I do. I don't care how you treat me, right? Especially now, right? Now, I'm in a space where I'm known. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Whether people recognize my voice or
Mhm.
my face, or they might have read something, like I'm
Mhm.
known by millions of
Yeah.
people. And so I never really know anybody's true intentions.
Intentions.
And so I'm cool. I
Good.
got barriers,
Mhm.
that protect me. So
Yeah.
now, you can't speak to me directly, right?
Mhm.
Like I got, certain things in place. But certain people that I might connect with,
Mhm.
I'm now in a space where I could watch you from afar.
Yeah.
I can see, how your character is,
Mhm.
and then based on your character, I'll let you in a little bit
Mhm.
so we could, so I could kind of see if if if
Make
if
align.
building a relationship is mutually beneficial,
Mhm.
and if it is, then we can move
Yeah.
forward. But now it's more balanced than it
Mhm.
was, before.
Got you. And then before we even like, I'm gonna come back to that, but hear you talk about your siblings and your sister a lot, and your brother. So I want to ask you because obviously I know you started obviously hustling early, like you said, bagging up groceries at the grocery store, and pretty much seeing like that was a route out versus going straight to the drugs that was obviously very present and available. So what would you feel like they did? Or obviously your sister got you the job, but what would you say the impact they had on you to pretty much steer you in the right direction? Because you had to have some level of like, all right, it's another way.
Yeah,
Outside of just getting to that job at 17, but it's like you seeing like it's another way of hustling, but
yeah.
hustling like legal things versus a risk.
Definitely my brother, my sister, but
Hmm.
also the OGs on
Okay.
the block too. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Because I think that when I
The
was coming up,
OGs.
the OGs knew who was for the streets and who
Hmm.
wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And so I was really good in basketball though
Yeah.
too. You know what I'm saying? So I used to play ball all the
Hmm.
time. And so they would see like, yo, bro,
Hmm.
like why you out here? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so I played. I played in my elementary school basketball team,
Hmm.
junior high school, high school. High school is when I stopped. But I was really, I was pretty good.
Yeah.
So they would see me, you know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
and anytime I tried to like shift and
Yeah.
go in the wrong direction, they're like, nah, Ash, you're not doing that. You know what I'm
Fact.
saying? I remember being thrown in the elevator and like
Hmm.
literally beat on by the
Yeah.
OGs and the gang
Yeah.
members because they was like, nah,
You're
you
not doing
like
this.
you wanna play? Let me show you. So
Hmm.
they didn't touch my face, but
Hmm.
my body was like bruised
Yeah.
bad because I was acting tough. I was like,
Mhm,
nah, like I'm of this life. And they're
mhm,
like, word, they'll throw me in the elevator. Or
mhm,
more than one occasion though, too. You know what
mhm.
I'm saying? And at that point, like just being bruised up, I'm
Yeah,
like,
I'm
nah, I'm
good.
good. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you gotta think though, too, when I'm around 12, right? When I'm
Mhm,
around 12, 13, this is when the Bloods came to the East Coast. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? And so, and my projects was a
mhm,
heavy blood area. So
mhm,
like, actually, God rest the dead, one of the guys who were like the head guys who bought the Bloods
mhm,
from Rikers Island
mhm,
to Harlem
mhm.
lived in my building. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so, because he was the head guy,
Mhm.
he recruited like half the project. So
Yeah.
I want to say at one point in the 90s, at one point, maybe like 70-80% of
Mhm.
my projects
Projects
was
was
blood.
blood.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so, it was just a matter of time. Like I never really wanted to be part of a gang,
Yeah.
but for me just being around, it was like a matter of time that I
Before you got
that I
recruited.
got
Yeah.
recruited or whatever, but my OGs was like, nah, it's not
Nah.
happening. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So definitely, the OGs kind of helped me. My basketball coaches would
Mhm.
help me. I got a basketball coach that I actually still speak to today, who was heavy in the streets. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I ain't gonna say what
Yeah.
crew he was down with because he a old
Yeah.
head, but
Yeah.
if you go back in the day and you look
Yeah.
at old Feds magazines, like you'll
Mhm.
probably you'll
No.
probably know. But he was like instrumental because he knew that
Mhm.
life, and he like, nah, Ash,
Yeah.
you're not that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it was a lot of people that kind of stirred
Held
me.
you. Hell yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, that's why I have allegiance to the hood. That's why
Mhm.
I don't care how much money I make. I don't
Going
care.
back.
I'm going back because
Mhm.
I owe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for those same people that are there
Mhm.
now trying to help the next generation,
Mhm.
like who knows where I
Yeah.
would be? You know what I'm
But
saying?
I agree with that. I think it's some level of love and respect for sure. But do you feel like to some degree that has caused you like survivor's guilt?
It does,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay.
Oh,
So yeah,
100%.
okay.
No,
Yeah.
I got survivor's guilt. I got survivor's guilt to a point where it's detrimental,
That's the issue.
which
Yeah.
is why um I know now that it's time to isolate myself
Mhm.
and have people in between. So I give you a
Mhm.
prime example. We had we had a back to school event in my neighborhood or whatever. And one of the OGs hit me and was like, yo, we having this back to school event or whatever. So I was like, oh, word. So I'm like, yo, send me your Cash App. So I sent them. I'm like, yo, here you go. Just off the love, like, all right, bet. And I wasn't planning to be there. I'm just like, yo, just off the love. So he's like, yo, I appreciate you, little bro. He's like, yo, if you're in town, you'll come through. And I wasn't gonna be in town, but I was supposed to be in Philly at a speaking engagement. So I said, yo, I'm right there. So I said, yo, I should come through, because of people make up stories, right? And it is a fact. I've generated millions of dollars as an entrepreneur. But people don't understand that when you generate that much money, there's taxes, there's expenses. You got to pay people. So I'm not running around with $10 million in my bank account. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's things that had to be paid, and there's expenses, there's mistakes I've made. You know what I'm saying? But people don't hear that, right? When people kind of see, like, and that was one of the biggest things that I hated. Like if y'all remember American Gangster, where Frank Lucas wore the chinchilla,
messed it up,
and he messed everything up. For a long, I've been an entrepreneur over a decade, so I've made a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? But in 2022, 2023. I was part of masterminds that were giving out awards for the amount of money made. You know what I'm saying? So it was the first time ever that you've heard me on any internet talk about money that was made. And I remember getting a ClickFunnels $1 million award. And then I was part of Myron Golden's mastermind, and me, Marvin, Storm, Leroy, Marvin Mitchell. We created Path to Prosperity. And we did over 10 million that year, right? And so and 7 million of that was done in a day. And so we got this big award where it's like, yo, 5 million in a day. You know what I'm saying? And so everybody like, now I'm looking like, I'm looking like food for a lot of people. And so after that happened, I started realizing, like, yo, bro, you can't really be walking out here like things is sweet. And so that was the first time I've ever had like security. So when I go to events, I always, salute to my guy. But I always have like security with me just to make sure like I'm good. Nobody acts stupid. But I said to myself, yo, I'm going back to my hood. I'm no security. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And so I wind up.
That's where you mess up.
I have a driver. You know what I'm saying? So I still had a driver with me or whatever. But that ain't security. But that ain't security. You know what I'm saying? So now you got this, and just for context. So, and this is just to talk about survivor's guilt. You got a young, I'm an entrepreneur who, an 8-figure entrepreneur. So I've generated, more than 8 figures as an entrepreneur. I'm famous, right? So I've been on, there's no media outlet that I haven't been on. I've been on live television, Today's Show, Forbes magazine. Like, there's no media outlet, right? No media outlet that I haven't been on. From major media. And then when you think about the Earn Your Leisures, the Sleepers for Suckers, like, I got millions inside the vault, right? I got millions of views online. And I've been on big stages like InvestFest, and so my podcast streams in 156 countries. So I'm saying all that to say that it's I go places, random places, and people hear my voice and be like, yo, that's the guy, right? And so I go into my neighborhood and I'm just chilling.
It's regular,
I'm just thinking it's regular, because survivor's guilt says, yo, I'm from here. Like nah, like I'm them, right? I'm no different from them, so I'm gonna be with them. I'm gonna kind of, you know what I'm saying? And God rest his soul, but Nipsey Hussle, right? Nip was like, yo, I'm in my hood, like it's me, I'm in my hood. You know what I'm saying? And so I realized, thank God I'm here, I'm having the conversation. And it was all love though, right? So I don't want to make it seem like I went there and something bad happened. No, it was all love, right? It was all love, and I felt comfortable, like, you know what I'm saying? And the people I was around, you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew they would hold me down, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't feel threatened, but still, having so much to lose.
A family, all that.
Right. It's not worth the sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? The risk is not worth it, because at the end of the day, I am the main breadwinner for my family, not just my immediate family, but my family. You know what I'm saying? I still impact millions of lives. Like, I still have a responsibility, right? I've made millionaires. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've helped you know, whether it's business partners and or people part of my programs, like directly I've made people millions of dollars, and then indirectly through my information I've made. So my value is there, and survivor's guilt will have you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, survivor's guilt and this self-worth thing, right? Because I don't see what people see.
Yeah.
Right? When people be like, "Yo, Ash Cat, Ash," I don't see that. I see, oh, I'm Ash. Like I'm the 8-year-old who's packing bags. I'm the guy for the projects. So I don't see what a lot of people see. And that's dangerous though.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely.
dangerous. And so survivor's guilt is something that I realize that I have. And again, you know, there's a lot of every situation negative, not even negative, undesirable, because I don't believe in negative and positive. I think everything works in your greater good, right? So I don't believe in negative and positive, but everything that's ever happened to me undesirable was because I didn't see who I was and I let somebody infiltrate.
So with that, do you feel like, what are you doing now to work on that, to like combat that? Because at the end of the day, like you said, it's to a point where it's detrimental. So what do you feel like the steps you're taking actively and continuously to help you pretty much combat that?
I'm not combating it.
You don't want to though.
Nah.
You don't want to combat it if it's detrimental?
Nah, cause I you know, I believe in universal law. I believe what you resist persists. And I think if I focus on trying to combat something, all I'm gonna do is call it to my life. I'm gonna attract it. So what I've done is I recognize who I am. I've accepted it, and I've put on the barriers to not make it happen. Right. So imagine you know, somebody who's highly promiscuous. That's not gonna change, bro. Like you love women. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're a woman, you love whatever.
Men.
If you highly promiscuous, you know what you do? Stay away from the club.
Yeah.
Right? Stay away from the club. Stay away from the strip club. You know, matter of fact, settle down. Yeah. Right? Settle down. Stay in the house. Like, do the things that keep you away. Like I used to roll dice. Like I'm a compulsive gambler. I won't touch nothing now. Yeah. I know this about me. Like when I was working at the bank, I would remember I would get paid. Yo, who got the bank? Like I would go and I would roll dice. Yeah. And I'm super competitive. Yeah. Right? So guess what? I don't no Vegas, nothing. I'm not combating that. Like I'm not going to therapy to try to get me to stop gambling or be modest. No, I know that like this, like self-awareness to me is more important. And so I know I got survivor's guilt. I know I gotta my heart is big, right? And so what I gotta do, I gotta protect myself, right? Save me from myself, right? I gotta put these things in motion to make sure that I cannot self-sabotage, right? And so if I'm the type of person, if I got it, you got it. And so guess what? Like, I will give it to you, and I learned that from my mom, because my mom used to do the same thing, right? I would give it to you, pause, in the detriment of me. You know what I'm saying? If I got if I got it, anything in excess is like, you know what? He needed it, you can have it. But now I got things in place. Now I got to make sure that I'm, you know, having automatic deposits, right? You know, making sure my savings account is protected in a way where I don't see it. Like there's different things that I do. So for me, it's all about that shielding. It's all about making sure there's the people in place, right? I have a certain personality. My wife has a certain personality. My sister has a certain personality. Like you need those people who are gonna protect you. Like if you remember in Paid in Full, like that Cameron, you know, that Alpo Cameron
even
character.
Though he was violating,
he was protecting Ace. You know what I'm saying?
Until it wasn't beneficial.
Yeah, but you know,
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying like the good part, right?
The good
part,
times,
right? The good part of that character, the Alpo character was he was overprotective of the money. Like yo, this is the money guy. Yo, Kermit the Frog, get out of here. You know what I'm trying to say? Violating. And so now for me, it's about, all right, who are my Camerons? Like who can I put around me? And so now if you want to, if there's a conversation that needs to be had, if there's a business deal that be had, I'm not making no decisions.
Yeah.
I need a second set of eyes. I need somebody else to look at this. I need to vet this thing out.
Yeah.
I'm not giving no money away. Like there's a budget for things. Like all of that stuff is to protect me from me.
Got
you. Know what I'm saying?
Nah, and I'm glad you said all that, and I want to transition, or I guess double back as far as becoming a parent, though, because I know you said obviously that impact obviously had a huge impact on you becoming a father. So I want to ask you two things. What is one thing you can give to a father or a newborn father, whatever it may be, that can help them? Because obviously, I'm a father, so it's like, what is some intangibles you could give us to let us know, like, it not necessarily it's gonna work out, but just in a sense of trying to navigate parenthood and fatherhood.
Yeah, so I think the number one thing is, and it goes back to universal law, is only focus on what you desire. Do not focus on what you don't desire. You will always, I don't care how good you are. I don't care how bad you are. I don't care what happens in your life. The universal law says whatever you focus on will expand, right? And so a lot of times people focus on, oh, my dad wasn't here, so I'm not going to be an absentee father. Guess what you're focusing on? Absentee fatherism. And now you're attracting situations that's going to potentially put you in a position that you're not there, to be absent. So for me, I only focused on what did I desire from my dad? What type of father figure did I want? And that's what I am to my children, right? And so number one, I would say only focus on what you desire for your children, right? And so what type of life do you want them to live? What does that relationship look like with you and your daughter, you and your son? Like whoever, like your children or your child, what does that look like? And then only focus on that. Yes, there's gonna be things that come up that try to negate that. But think about this. If right now you have no money in your pocket, would you rather focus on saying, man, I can't wait till I'm not broke anymore? Or would you rather say, I can't wait till I'm rich, right? Both of them are the same. You got $0. You could focus on how broke you are, or you could focus on getting rich. I would say focus on getting rich. I would say focus on getting rich. So even when there's situations, right? Your baby mother acting crazy. You know what I'm saying? Yo, nah, I can't wait till she get out of here. No. Yo, I'm looking forward to having a peaceful relationship with my child. We could co-parent peacefully. Like only focus on what you want. So that's what I would say to anybody. Focus on the desire, and then the more you focus on the desire, the more you're attracting it and calling it to you.
Got you. And I want to go to marriage, but before we do you feel like, two questions as far as with parenting and your children, do you feel like you've been biased between your daughter and your son?
100%.
Okay. What are some ways you feel comfortable sharing, and what have been the ways you worked on that?
I think for me, my daughter's my firstborn,
Got you,
and so she literally changed my life. And so I think she knows it by now, but there's nothing I won't do for her. Like anything she asks for, she's gonna get. And I don't care. Like I don't care. Oh, you spoiling? It don't matter. Like if she want it, she getting it. And I think that for me, the reason why I father in that way is because I know that I'm her first love. And I want, my desire for her is when she, if she decides to get married and start her own family, that I'm a model for what her husband is going to be, right? Somebody who is willing to take care of her needs. Obviously, she's my child, so she's never going to have a monetary need, even as an adult. But, that level of relationship where there's somebody who's at least willing to give you all, like, so I'm modeling, if you will, what I desire for my daughter from a relationship standpoint, from a family standpoint, right? When it comes to my son, it's not that I love them any differently. I just feel like my role as a father with my son is to teach him how to be a man. And so teaching him how to be a man is not necessarily going to be as sweet or as, giving as me teaching my daughter
Mm-hmm.
how to, have
Yeah.
that first love, if you
Correct.
will. You know what I'm saying?
Being softer. with
Yeah,
her,
you know what I'm saying? So it's obviously like a
Got you.
bias. I'm obviously a little tougher on
Yeah.
him. But then that's the balance though,
Yeah.
right? Because the truth of the matter is that there's a difference between how my wife interacts, right? My
Yeah.
wife is always putting pressure on my daughter,
Yeah.
right? And I leave, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't get into between that. She
Mhm.
always putting pressure. My son could do no wrong in my wife's eyes. So I think that and I think that's why
Yeah.
the two parent
It's vital.
is vital, that two
Yeah.
parent household, because it's not like they're lacking. They're
Mhm.
getting love and discipline
Correct.
from both parents, but based on the gender,
Mhm.
right? It's how it's being developed.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I remember one story you told. It was a while back. It was more in a sense of like you learning. It was a phase where you had to learn how to be more, like you say, I guess for the lack of a better word, softer with your daughter, like how you would come off with your son. And I think you said she mentioned it to you, and then it helped you reevaluate. Do you remember that?
Yeah. So
Okay.
so honestly, salute to my brother Derek Grace. I remember that I was the disciplinarian.
Okay. Yeah.
And I growing up, I grew up in a Haitian household, so
Shout out to my Haitians.
you know
My
what I'm
brother
saying?
Haitian. Yeah.
So I got fed, right? So like hitting your child, yelling at them, like that was just like normal stuff. And I remember one time I watched Derek, salute to the bro. He was like talking to his daughter, and he was just like, "Yo, who taught y'all to make your children afraid of you?" You know what I'm saying? Like, who told y'all hitting them is good and yelling at them and
That's a
and
fact.
getting them afraid and all that stuff? And when he said it, I was like, "Oh," you know what I'm saying? And I realized that early on, that's what I was teaching I was teaching my daughter to be afraid of me. You know what I'm saying? Because now she's like on eggshells and things. So I'm like, nah, I'm not, I'm chilling. And it wasn't even like I would take the belt out and hit her, but
Yeah.
I'm 6'3".
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a big dude. So I'll be like, why are you doing that? Like I would chastise a lot. And then that created this sense of meagerness in her. That, obviously in my evolved mind, right? Evolving through experience. You know what I'm saying? Like in my evolved mind, I said, nah, I'm training her to accept that from somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So it's been, man, I want to say, it's been years. Like I don't yell at her. I don't judge her. Like, she's the princess that she should be. You know what I'm saying? And that was the chain, the catalyst of, me just saying, all right, I'm gonna parent in this way, because it is slave mentality, right? It's slave mentality to manage through fear and not through love. You know what I'm saying? And so now I just decided to parent through love.
No, facts. And I'm glad you said that, because I hope a lot of parents take that on. I remember seeing that with Derek Grace too. I remember from the standpoint of when he shared it obviously multiple times, but this one, before I even had a child, I said I wasn't doing that because I know how I felt after getting beatings for stuff that shouldn't even got a beating for. But at the end of the day, I knew how it made me feel. So one thing I do remember him saying, like, if you have a problem with somebody in the street, your first thing is not going to be to hit them, because you're going to know it's consequences behind it. You're not going to be ready to wild out in the street over the same somebody because they didn't say something to you or they don't address you a certain way. So why would you do this to your precious seed, somebody that you brought into this world? They ain't asked to be here. So I remember him saying that too. So that's definitely something that help me evolve even more and double down on the fact, like, I'm not giving my son no beating.
Facts.
So any parent out there, I hope y'all get that. So now I want to transition to the marriage. So obviously I want to know, how has that helped you evolve? Because obviously before, like, I don't know your life before you got married, but how has that helped you evolve as well, just from a marriage standpoint, or things? I'll stay that first, and then I'll go from there.
Yeah. My wife saved my life. You know what I'm saying? Like literally.
Shout out to her.
You know what I mean? Fat shout, little baby. You know, she saved my life. Because oddly enough, again, it goes back to survivor's guilt. I met my wife, it was like 23, 24. And so we've literally been together for 20 years. We've been married 16 years. But when I met her, I was already a VP at a bank. You know what I'm saying? Like I was working at the bank. We actually met at the bank. You know what I'm saying? So fast out to Chase. You know what I'm saying? We need to sponsor.
Yeah,
those,
I was about to say that.
This is sponsored by. You know what I mean? But we met at the bank. And literally I was a VP at the bank, coming home and still hanging out on the block though. Right? Like I still lived in the projects when I met my wife. I was still living in the projects. And I would literally work during the day and at night, because I'm getting money now.
Yeah.
I was fresh. I had the Pelés on. I was fresh. Prior to meeting her, I was getting wild girls, like wild, like, because I looked like the drug dealer. So guess what? I started hanging with the drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? And that was detrimental, right?
Yeah.
Because I could have. In fact, I remember, one of my guys, like, they every now and then they do these sweeps where they like, they like before the summertime, they sweep up all the drug dealers. And I remember one of my guys got picked up. And he was like, yo, he hit me. He was like, yo, you got to stop hanging on 8th Avenue. I'm like, what you talking about? He was like, yo, I was in like they picked him up because he was selling drugs. He was like, yo, I was in the van and they was going through the pictures of people. And it was like, your picture was there. I'm like, my picture? Like, I work at a bank. Like, how my pictures is in there? But if they don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know.
Grabbing everybody.
Right? They grabbing everybody because I could have been the dude supplying the money from my job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, by the time I met my wife, I realized, like, first she was the first woman that I respected, right? Because prior to that, I you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just wanted to take somebody's head off, like, you know what I'm saying? If you know what that means, you know what I mean? Like, that was my only thing my only goal that I wanted to have with women.
Yeah.
Wasn't to be your friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to catch a body. You know what I'm saying?
That's a real reality that a lot of men deal with. So
yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so by the time I met her, I was 40 and 0. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, if you come to the crib, like, that's it. You know what I'm saying? And so, we wound up going on a date. I remember this. We went on a date, and she wouldn't let me in. And I was like, whoa, this is weird. You know what I'm saying?
This weird.
It's weird.
Nah,
like,
I got it.
Are you good? Like, you all right? Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
I'm gonna send this to her before we air it. I ain't about to deal with nothing.
You know what I'm saying? And so she was the first woman that made me respect her intellect. You know what I'm saying? Cause we in her crib having a conversation. Like, a conversation in a crib, like we had the crib by ourselves, and all we doing is talking. I said, nah. And so she was the first one that made me respect conversation. Fast forward, I stopped playing the block. I was like, you know what? I enjoyed being with her so much that we just, started hanging out, and we wound up just, getting into a deeper relationship, and that was the start of us building wealth, if you will, because even. We bought our first house when we was 25 years old. And I remember I had proposed to her and we were supposed to get married. And I was going to do a destination wedding in Jamaica. And we were going to spend all this money on it. And she looked at me, she said, yo, let's get past 10 years first. Let's use this money and let's buy a house with it. And if we last 10 years, then we can have the wedding. And I said, I respect that. You know what I'm saying? And so that was how we bought the house instead of getting, we still got married. We did just as a piece, but we wound up, using that money to build wealth, to invest or whatever. So, my wife has saved my life, got me off the block. She's my biggest confidant. She's my business partner now. So not just a wife. She's my best friend. She's my business partner. And we do like there's nothing that happens in my life that she doesn't know about. We talk about everything. And so it's just been a blessing. We do go through our ups and downs though, right? So
like anybody.
Right. So it's not, I'm not trying to paint this rosy picture like, it's we kumbaya skipping all the time. She from Brooklyn. You know what I'm trying to say? So y'all stay ready. Like y'all stay on
I knew it was gonna come up.
No, I'm just saying, it's a fact though. Anybody who knows somebody from Brooklyn, Brooklyn people like stay ready for no reason. You be like, yo, good morning. What you mean good morning? What type of morning? Like what, you know what I'm trying to say? So it be that. You know what I'm trying to say? It'd be that where she stay ready. You know what I'm trying to say?
Shout out to her, man. Nah, that's funny. Nah, so obviously we know, I'm glad you said that because obviously we know like it's not all roses and peaches or whatever they would call it, but obviously day 1 and day 400 is different. So what has been something that you can say from the beginning of your marriage to now has been one of the most impactful things that she has taught you,
Yeah.
and then vice versa if she's admitted it?
Yeah, I think so far the most impactful thing that that she's taught me
Mhm.
is to be comfortable with the truth.
Okay. Mm.
Um, you know, as a man, um, a lot of times we like to, right? Because I
Mhm.
know other guys that do it. We like to omit certain facts about a situation, to try to soften the blow, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
We try to leave things out. We try to kind of massage situations. And so for me, it's like, don't try to control a narrative
Mm.
to soften the blow of something.
Psychological,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
abuse.
So
Okay.
it's almost like, and this is maybe a trivial example, but if your wife comes in or your girl comes in with a dress that you really don't like, and she
Mhm.
says, "How do I look in this?" And you like, "Oh, I like it." Like you
Mhm.
lie to her, or
Yeah.
you say, there's a different dress, whatever. Like if you
Yeah.
try to soften the blow, what winds up happening is that the more you do that, you're training the muscle to not be fully
Direct.
direct,
Mhm.
and then that directness, leaves room for lack of trust within
Yeah.
the relationship.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And so now I realize that regardless of how I think somebody may take something,
Yeah.
specifically my wife, I'm gonna give you the truth.
Yeah.
And also the second piece of that is you should never penalize somebody for their truth,
Agree.
right?
Agree.
And so if my experience has me thinking a certain way, I'm gonna still give you the
Mhm.
truth, but also know
Mhm.
that my truth is not to hurt you.
Yeah.
The truth is really to just give you this level of understanding,
Mhm.
get you to a space of knowing that this is me based on my experience,
Correct.
and not necessarily take it personal, because
Mhm.
for me, like, my wife is very direct, like she don't
Mhm.
hold nothing back.
Fact.
And there were times that her directness felt like disrespect,
Yeah.
right? Where I'm like, yo, you trying to disrespect me.
Mhm.
But the truth of the matter is that she was, being direct and telling me things how she felt.
Yeah.
And then I have to look back and say, what did I do to make her, if what she felt is not necessarily the truth, then what part did I play?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think really just standing on truth is one of the
Yeah.
biggest things I learned from her, for sure.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I feel like it's been the opposite for me. I'm
Mhm.
like, I guess, like, just being direct,
Yeah.
like, and saying it, not even trying to come off disrespectful, but just saying it exactly how I think it. And obviously later on reevaluate, maybe I could have said it better, but then that goes back to trying to soften the blow. But it's
Yeah.
like, even as simple as like saying I don't like something, if I just say I don't like it, in the past it's been like, dang, like you could have said it better. So I don't
Yeah.
know, like it be certain stuff, and then I guess, do you ever feel like it's a standpoint where it's like maybe you too truthful?
Yeah. It's like saying this chair is too dry,
Mm-hmm.
or water is too wet.
Mm-hmm.
Water is water,
Yeah.
right? Dryness is
Yeah.
dryness.
Yeah.
Um, you cannot be too truthful,
Mhm.
right? Because truth is truth.
Mhm.
Truth does not change,
Mhm.
right? And so, yes, there's variations of truth,
Mhm.
right? But there's still gonna, like, the core of the truth is always the truth.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And so I don't think that there's a level of being too truthful. I just think that there's a level of intention,
Mhm.
right? And so, there's things that I see and there's things that I know,
Mhm.
that are the truth,
Yeah.
but it's not my place
Mhm.
to tell somebody that,
Yeah.
right? And so if I like if I'm online and I see somebody capping, I'm like, yo, that's cap.
Yeah.
But it's not affecting me or anybody I love,
Mhm.
then why am
Gonna
I
press
in that?
about it.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
No
But
facts.
if it's something that is detrimental, it's almost like if I see my child walking across the street
Mhm.
and the car is going fast, and the truth of the matter is if they keep walking, they're gonna get hit. I don't care how hard I grab them away.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I need to save your life.
Yeah.
And so
Facts.
some truth
Mhm.
it requires directness.
Mm-hmm.
It requires you to
Facts.
just state what is.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth of the matter is that love is love.
Yeah.
And so if somebody knows that you truly love them,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not out to hurt them, telling them the truth it might sting a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but ultimately they'll appreciate you for telling them the truth than to hide and not not be real with them.
Nah, facts. Okay, yeah, I'm glad you put it that way. I could look at it from that perspective now, because I always feel like that has gotten me into issues where it could have just been avoided.
Yeah.
If I would have said nothing, it could have just been avoided.
Yeah.
But the fact that I've been direct about truthful things is just like, all right, this has caused me more issues. Like, it's like kind of like you buy the doctor prescribe a drug, but it caused so many other side effects.
Right.
I could have just avoided this altogether and just dealt with the one thing.
Facts.
Or not at all. So I want to ask you now, just before we even start wrapping it up, as far as what's your favorite book before you started writing books? Because we obviously know you're an author, but I wanted to ask you that, like, what were, even if it's not your favorite, maybe some top ones before you became a best-selling author?
Yeah, Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
Even now as an author.
Okay, it's still okay.
Think and Grow Rich is my favorite book. I actually just bought the 1935 original unabridged version of it. I had to search for it. But that's forever gonna be my favorite book. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? But it's worth it.
It's worth it for sure.
Because I was listening to Abraham Hicks audio, and they were talking about how some things were omitted out of the original. So I was like, oh, I want the full.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got that. But Think and Grow Rich is my favorite book of all time. In fact, my first book is a hip hop version of it.
Okay.
So my first book is called Mind Right, Money Right, 10 Laws of Financial Freedom. Well, think, mind right, grow rich, money right. You know what I mean? But that's my favorite book because I think that is the universal law.
Yeah,
and so that's my favorite. I actually try to read that book once a year. Did I read it? Yeah, I read it last year. So hopefully, I mean, I'm pretty sure for the last, I want to say 10 years, I've read or listened to that book at least once a year. There's some years I've listened to it or read it multiple times. The Science of Getting Rich is definitely a strong number 2 for me. And then number 3 would be Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and to Influence People. Right? Okay. If I'm gonna give you top 5, I'll round it out. Top 5. Number 4, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And then number 5, Malcolm. I love anything Malcolm Gladwell.
Okay.
But my favorite Malcolm Gladwell is Outliers. So those are my top 5.
I think you told me about that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Classic.
Okay, and then with that, as far as, because obviously I know, I always say, obviously you know it too, books are investments, and I think a lot of people should invest in those more, because you also, like you said, I think the same way you go back and read those books, same way people go back and watch movies, I think that's so vital with books, because you may miss something the same way you miss it with a movie, you may miss it in a book, and it's a new level of wisdom that you may gain or clarity on something that you may be dealing in your actual lifetime right now. But also transition from that, I want to ask, this is my top question I ask any guest. In your own words, no wrong answer, what does evolving through experience mean to you?
Man, evolving through experience means that you understand that the good, the bad, the ugly have all worked to get you where you are right now. And that you could never learn anything looking forward, you could only learn looking back, right? And so when they say hindsight is 20/20, as you're going through your experience, you have to know that you're growing through that experience, that anything that's happening is not happening to hurt you, that eventually, even if you don't understand it, even if it's something that is the worst thing that you're experiencing right now, even if you don't understand it, if you don't give up, right? If you just keep going and you don't give up, you'll realize how that was actually a blessing for you. Like that has blessed your life better than any other contrived, any, pieces of the puzzle that you could put together. Like that experience, what you went through was actually a blessing for you, right? And so for me, when you are evolving through experience, you are allowing, God, right, your higher power to work through you, because, God knows best, not you, right? A lot of us lean on our own understanding, and we try to maneuver and change things. But the truth of the matter is that God knows best. God knows the best route to get to where you asked to go. Right? You think about a GPS system. If I like right now, if I get in my car and I put my home as the destination, I may think I know the best route to go, right? But guess what? Waze already knows that there's traffic on the I-20. It knows that the I-285 is shut down.
75.
It knows everything ahead of time. So even if it takes me longer to get home than it would normally take me, and I gotta take the back blocks, I gotta trust and understand that that experience is getting me to my destination that I asked for.
That's a fact. Hey, couldn't say that better. I tell everybody, every guest say it differently, but that's exactly what it means. Like, it's no wrong answer to evolving through experience. The name speak for itself. So my last question before we wrap it up and let everybody know where you can follow you at is, before you had that mindset shift, do you feel like at any point in your life before that mindset came about, although your mindset has always been evolving, that you had any regrets before that mindset shift?
Yeah, I think for me, because I've always been somebody who's been grateful, I really never, I really never had no regrets.
Yeah.
Because when I think about all of the things that kicked out of school, I play with, illegal guns. I have friends who've been through the same exact experience, who have felonies, who
Different outcomes.
I got a friend who's doing 65 years to life for being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Wasn't that he did anything, he was just at the wrong place at the wrong time and got 65 to life. So when I look at that and I say, man, you know where you could have been or how your life could have been, every single day, all praises due to the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? For my Muslims out there, alhamdulillah. Like, I'm always reminding myself over and over and over again, all praises due to God, because where I am today is exactly where I needed to be. And so my mindset has always been one of gratitude. And I truly believe in my heart, that's why my life I'm blessed. Like, I have no complaints whatsoever. I've never been a complainer. And I think a lot of people who, while they go through their struggles or these experiences, the reason why they stay in them longer than they should, or they don't feel like their life is a blessing, is because they don't practice gratitude. I think the moment that you just shift it, and I'm talking about anybody watching this right now, the moment you just shift your mind and say, man, the thing that I'm going through right now is for my greater good, and you say, thank you, God, right? Say, thank you, God. And I don't care what the situation is. Any situation that you're going through right now, say, thank you, God, because I know on the opposite of that is a blessing that I can't even imagine. And if you have that mindset, then you will have a greater appreciation for life. And that appreciation for life is going to attract more things that you could be appreciative for.
Gratitude. I remember when I learned that, and I just absolutely, like, even writing it down, like, I got to get back to, I used to write like 3 things soon as I wake up, 3 things I'm grateful for. And it's everything but tangibles. It's all intangibles. And I think once you, like you said, once you get to there, it's vital. So without further ado, bro, I just, where can people follow you at? Obviously, I already know, but let them know where they can follow you out. Any last words you want to just leave them?
Yes, sir. So first, appreciate you, brother, for having me on there. You go to my website, iamashcash.com. Everything, my books, my programs, everything is there. You can follow me on all social media platforms at iamashcash. And my final word is just be, right? A lot of times we're so focused on doing. We keep asking ourselves, what are the things that I can do in order to have, what I desire? But if you look at any scripture, they say, be, do, then have. And so you can't skip the steps. You are, like in the words of Hove, you can try to change, but that's just the top layer, fam. You was who you was when you got here. And if you focus on your being, right, as a human being, as a spiritual being, if you focus on your being is then going to dictate what you do, and that doing is going to dictate what you have. So be, do, then have.
Hey, y'all, if y'all enjoyed another episode of Evolving Through Experience, make sure y'all follow us on all platforms. Check it out. Share it with a friend. If you're not evolving today, start today, because if you're not evolving, you're dissolving. So make sure y'all catch us on the next episode. Peace. Hey, appreciate it again, bro.
Yes, sir. Do right, kill everything. I'm a bad